Hey, kindergarten friends, welcome back. Man, have we been blazing through the seasons of the sandstorm. I've enjoyed reading to you so much. So, we know our characters are who? That's right, Jack, Annie. This time we have a new character. His name is Mamoon. And we have two sort of other characters that we've met, Beauty and Cutie. Who are Beauty and Cutie, and why are they part of this story? Oh, that's right. They're the camels helping Jack and Annie out in the desert. Without them, I don't think Jack and Annie would have gotten very far. What do you think? All right, so in our last chapter, Sand Blasted, what was happening? Oh, do you think that's why they call it Sand Blasted? I think so too, because they got blasted with sand in that sandstorm, didn't they? In Did Jack and Annie stay really close to Mamoon? They were safe and everything was fine in the end? Why did Jack and Annie lose Mamoon? Oh, that's right, because the box blew away and Jack chased it and Annie chased Jack and they lost Mamoon. Well, why didn't he just follow their footsteps? Oh, because in a sandstorm, the sand blows and you can't see the people's footsteps anymore. That makes sense. So the last we left off at the very end of the chapter, Jack was like starting to fade off. He was not looking so good. And Annie yelled, "Look, there's..." That's right, they finally found the town of Baghdad. Now they finished 2 parts of Merlin's rhyme already. They rode a ship of the desert through the sea at night, and then they also now followed through the dust the morning light. So they've figured out 2 of the clues, so hopefully they'll be able to help Merlin solve the rest of this riddle. In the town of Baghdad. That's right, they've made it there. All right, so here we go, behind the 3rd wall. "Let's hurry," said Annie. As Beauty and Cutie walked toward Baghdad, the loose sand of the desert changed to sun-baked earth. Then the hard earth changed to scrubby grass. Goats and sheep grazed in the grass, and farms dotted the countryside. Not so deserty anymore, huh? It wasn't long before Jack and Annie came to a red clay path. The path led to a crossroad where many travelers were coming from different directions. They were all heading toward the shining city. Jack and Annie rode alongside boys driving sheep and farmers in donkey carts. They passed women with veils over their faces, carrying pots on their shoulders. Jack kept looking for Mamoon, but he never saw him, moving with the crowd. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I would like you to draw the setting in this one as well, but this time I want you to listen to those words about the setting. So remember, they're on a road now. They're not in the desert. There's hard earth. Grass is starting to come up. There's farms. Are they all by themselves, or are there a lot of people around? So I want you to draw the setting of Baghdad. Here's a little peek of what it looks like. How cool is that? You see there's even a river. Oh my goodness. Because we're going to compare the settings when we're done with this. So let's go ahead and keep listening. So moving through the crowd, Beauty and Cutie clomped across a bridge. Rowboats and barges glided along the yellowish-brown river. On the other side of the river was a huge outdoor market with a maze of tents. The market seemed to be filled with people from many countries. The sharp smell of incense filled the air. Stalls were jammed with burlap sacks, baskets, and carpets. Shoemakers sat cross-legged, stitching shoes. Potters were bent over ovens, baking earth-colored pots. Weavers sat at small looms, spinning silk brocade. "Paper? Pearls?" a merchant shouted. "No thanks," said Annie. "Pigeons? Parrots?" another shouted at Jack. "No thanks," he said. "I love this place," said Annie. "What is it?" "I'll look it up," said Jack. He pulled out the research book and read. In the 9th century, traders from all over the world brought their goods to Baghdad to sell. Baghdad merchants traded paper, fine cloth, and jewelry for goods from Spain, India, Africa, China, Greece, and other lands. These goods were sold in a huge open-air market called a bazaar. Oh, what a cool word. Bazaar. Oh, so a bazaar is sort of like a small mall, said Jack. It's a lot better than a mall, said Annie. Let's get off and look around. We don't have time to shop, said Jack. We have to finish our mission. He pulled out Merlin's letter and read, Find a horse on a dome, the one who sees all, in the heart of the city behind the third wall. It sounds like we pass 3 walls and then we come to a horse, said Jack. We better keep going. Jack put the book and the letter away. Beauty and Cutie ambled through the noisy bazaar. When they left the bazaar, they came to a curved brick wall running along the base of a wall that was a muddy moat. Look, that must be the first wall, said Annie. Cool, said Jack. Jack and Annie rode the 2 camels over an arched bridge that crossed the moat. They passed through a gate with double iron doors. On either side of the walls was a busy avenue lined with buildings. As their camels wove slowly in and out of the crowd, Jack pulled out their research book. Swaying from side to side, he read to Annie. During its golden age, Baghdad had good hospitals. The city was also known for its excellent police system and public schools, along with its many libraries and stores, and a zoo with 100 lions. I don't want to go in there. I'd like to visit those lions, said Annie. We don't have time now, said Jack. Their camels clopped down the busy avenue until they came to a green field. Look, there's a second wall, said Annie. Bordering the field was another wall. It was curved too, but much taller than the first. It looked like it was at least 100 feet high. There were guards at the gate, but they didn't seem to be checking any of the people passing through. Act normal, Jack advised Annie. Don't attract their attention. Jack and Annie joined a stream of people passing through the gate. Beyond the second wall was another grand avenue. At the end of the wide cobble road was another green field. Look! The third wall, said Annie. The third wall was even taller than the second. Again, people were passing freely through its gate. This part of the mission was easy, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack, but we still have to find the horse on the dome and then find the caliph and get him to meet with us. Beauty and Cutie ambled through the gate of the third wall, carrying Jack and Annie into the heart of Baghdad. A palace loomed before them. Its roof was a glittering green dome. At the top of the dome stood the statue of you guessed it, a horse. All right. Yay! The horse who sees all, said Annie. I'll bet the caliph lives in that place. Let's follow those people inside. She pointed to a stream of people entering an arched passageway outside the palace. Jack and Annie rode under the arch and into the beautiful garden. The warm breeze smelled of flowers. They rode down a path bordered by date palms until they came to a courtyard where the boys were playing ball. Near the courtyard was a stable with camels in it. Looks like we'll have to go the rest of the way on foot, said Jack. Yeah, I guess Beauty and Cutie can stay there, said Annie, pointing to the stable. Jack and Annie rode into the stable. They clucked and the camels knelt. As Jack reached for his shoulder bag, a ball rolled into the stable. Annie picked it up and stepped outside. Jack followed her. Here! Shouted a young boy with curly black hair. He was holding out his hands. Annie threw the ball to him, and the boy caught it. He grinned at Annie's good throw. Who are you? He called. Where are you from? Before Jack could say anything, Annie crossed to the boys. Jack hurried after her. I'm Annie, and this is my brother Jack, Annie said. We're from Frog Creek, Pennsylvania. Why have you come to Baghdad? The boy asked. We have to see the caliph, said Annie. The boys and his friends laughed. What's so funny? Said Annie. Our caliph is the most powerful man in the world, said another boy. He does not have time to visit with children. That's what everyone keeps saying, said Annie. But we're here on a very important mission. Annie, Jack interrupted. Come on, I left my bag back in the stable. He waved to the boys. See you guys later. Let's go, Annie. Annie started to leave with Jack. When you discover that the caliph will not meet with you, come back and play with us, called the curly-haired boy. Annie stopped. Don't worry, she called back. He'll meet with us. We're special. Annie, come on, said Jack. Why are you so special? Shouted the boy. For one thing, we just saved a precious treasure from bandits and from a sandstorm in the desert, said Annie. And for another, Annie, Jack said sternly. He grabbed her arm. Come on. He pulled Annie away. As they headed back into the stable, Jack shook his head. Don't say stuff like that, he said. Why not? Said Annie. Because it's bragging, said Jack. It makes other kids feel bad, even if you are special. You don't have to. Oh, no, cried Annie. She covered her mouth with her hands. What? Said Jack, following her shocked gaze. Jack's leather bag lay at Beauty's feet. It was open. Beside it was a torn leather cover of Aristotle's book. Wet pages hung in shreds from Beauty's mouth as she happily chewed the precious treasure. That darn camel? So, what do you think will happen to that book? That is your final thing, is the prediction on that. So, what I want to talk to you about right now is how was Sandblasted, the setting in Sandblasted, different from Behind the Third Wall? And I want you to think about that and talk to somebody about that, because that's what we would really be working on right now, is we'd be working on comparing settings. And so Jack and Annie are still in the golden age, but the settings are very different, right? The desert versus Baghdad. Baghdad is like a paradise. There's river, there's water, there's people, there's boats, there's buildings, there's grass. In the desert, there's nothing but sand and wind and a lot of hot. So it's very different in many ways. The temperatures are probably very different. The ground is very different. Who lives there is very different. So go ahead and talk to a mom or a dad about that, and I can't wait to read to you. Oh, this is your last thing. Predict. Will they get the book away from Beauty, yes or no? Chapter 8, Room of the Tree. I wonder what that's going to be about. Make a prediction. Will they get the book back? What is Room of the Tree?